Hello, my name is Alfonso, and today I have the privilege of interviewing Mr. Rodolfo Rudy Ruiz. He is a lawyer in the Rio Grande Valley. He was the valedictorian of the Thurgood Marshall School of Law graduating class of 2019. His main and central office is located in Edinburgh, Texas, with a second location in Rio Grande City, and a third location which will be announced very soon. Mr. Rudy, thank you so much for joining me and agreeing to do this interview.
Thank you for the opportunity to be a part of your production, and anything I can do to help and serve people, I'm more than willing to do it. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Well, my first question is, who are you and where are you from?
You know, that's a very loaded question. Who are you? I mean, I know a lot of times we as people want to attribute that answer to our careers or our positions in a family, right? Like I'm a husband. I'm also a father. Right. And my career is to practice law. I'm an attorney, and I help people in that regard. I don't think that's who I am, right? I think that's what I do.
Okay.
I really believe who I am is an accumulation of my entire life.
That's good.
I'm a person who loves to give. I'm a person who loves to see the best in people. I'm a person that loves to help people grow and get out of situations that they never thought they could get out of, in a hopeless situation. I believe that's who I am, right? I believe I'm alive in this world to bring light to people in many ways. I really believe I do that through my practice, through my business, law offices of Rodolfo Rudy Ruiz. But it's much bigger than that. I really believe that's who I am.
Awesome. Well, I believe that leads perfectly into my second question. What was life like growing up, and how does that help shape your view of business and your life now?
Yeah, so I mean, I can't tell you that it was easy, right? I mean, I live in the Rio Grande Valley. It's one of the poorest areas or regions in the entire nation, right here in the United States. So I probably have similar stories to a lot of people. I grew up single parent home. It was four of us. By that I mean four siblings, right? I had two sisters and a brother, including myself. That'd be a total of four with my mom, right? We lived in a single parent home growing up, and it was very difficult, right? We were constantly being evicted from place to place. Sometimes couldn't afford to pay light, pay water. There were times we would live without that, right? And it's something that we just became accustomed to. It wasn't easy, right? But I really believe that taught me, and it reminds me of where I am today, not to forget where I've been, because there's a ton of people still experiencing that, right? So a part of my vision in my office is to help people involved in injury cases like car wrecks, slip and falls, and other type of injury related incidents. But it's more than that, right? I want to help people, but I also want to help people in the community by doing what I do. But that upbringing has taught me to be a person who learns how to be giving back to the community. Where I am today is an accumulation of people helping me, in the community helping me. I didn't get here by myself. I'd be remiss if I said I got here on my own. That'd be a straight up lie.
Yeah.
There's a ton of people that I truly believe God placed in my life to allow me to get to the place where I am today. And I really believe this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going to end up, but this is where I am today, and we take it a day at a time. But that's a little bit of my upbringing, and it allows me to remember that when I'm talking to people in my practice, in life in general, that all of these things that we have computers, cars, houses. That's really not what's important in life, right? It's taught me that there's something bigger than just things, right? And it's really believing and loving people. It's about us, right? The people. That upbringing has taught me to make life and bring that into my business and make it about people. It allows me to bring it into my law practice, to focus on the person, right? Not necessarily on the other things. Now, the other things are a part of it, of course, but we can never forget that it's about loving and serving people through what we do. Yeah. So I really believe my upbringing helped instill those values in me from very early on.
What would you say are some of the major moments or milestones along your journey that led you to where you are now?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, growing up without a dad was one of the biggest things for me. Didn't have a sense of a leadership role from a father figure that could slap me around right when I needed to be slapped around. I found myself always being outside of the house, running around, playing with friends, staying out late, because I was looking for. I believe now I was looking for a place where I would feel loved, where I would feel like I'm a part of this. And at home, it was very difficult, right? Because my mom gracefully had to work all the time to provide for us, right? It wasn't easy. So God ended up putting the right people in my life to really encourage me, to really allow me to see that my life is bigger than just the valley. I think a lot of the times us here in the valley believe, because this is all we see and know, that this is all we have, right? But when we begin to see beyond what's in front of us, right, we begin to expand and explore and even go out of the valley sometimes to see what other things there are. Your vision begins to grow, right? You're like, wow, there's more than just what we have here. And the mentors who I hold dear to my heart would constantly instill that into me, right? Believe for bigger. There's much more than what I would see in front of me at the time. And at the time, it wasn't where I am today, right? When they were telling me these things, we were still being evicted from home to home. Yeah. Right. We were still trying to find ways to provide, to buy food, to pay for gas. I mean, there was times we were putting $2-3 of gas because that's all we had. Right. Wow. A lot of the times we think because they see where I am now, oh, well, it's easy, right, for them to encourage you because you're an attorney. But that's not when I needed it. Right. I needed it at the time where I couldn't see past where I was. And I think those leaders in my life, those mentors in my life really were a big part of where I am today. Me believing in God and God using those people to instill those visions and that growth in my life has played a huge part. Definitely played a huge part.
Is there any particular moment that you could say maybe helped change the direction of your life?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, right? There's a lot, but I know I tell people all the time, like I grew up in a home where because my mom had to be working a lot, it was just our siblings, right? We had no sense of love for each other because we were kids, right? We really didn't know how to love one another. And it wasn't until I started, going with these leaders all the time and who really began to show me what love was. I remember one particular moment where this is way back, right? But I just felt shattered in my heart. My heart had been broken. I was crying. I was praying. I called my leader, right, my mentor, and he picked up. Right, that's just the kind of person that he was. He really believed in the kids that he was mentoring. So that particular time showed me beyond more that he's there. It showed me that there's people out there that really care and love you, yeah. And I think after that I began to see, man, that's what it's really about, right? It's being there for people in their difficult time, showing them that there's hope, right? Because at the time, that was my biggest battle, right? And we all experience different battles, different highs and lows. But it was at that particular moment, at that age, I was like maybe 15 or something like that, 16 or 17. It allowed me to see that there's people out there that really love you. And she shared that hope with me, right? That encouragement. That turned my life. I began to really believe that, and that's what life was about. If somebody could be there for me during those times, because sometimes that's all it takes, right? Is somebody conversing with you, someone telling you that there's going to be better, right? If you just continue to believe, continue to have faith. That's the biggest moment I can remember.
Wow. Did you ever experience the feeling of uncertainty toward your future, or maybe uncertainty toward the possibility of success?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're human. I mean, I'd be shocked if not every single person listening to us today hasn't experienced that at some point in their life, right? That uncertainty is constantly going to be there, even when you feel like you've made it, right? Even when you feel like, wow, like I never thought I'd be here. Thank God. And absolutely be thankful, right? I'm very thankful where I am. But there's times where even where I am today, I'm unsure of what's ahead, right? We literally we literally work in a field where we have to believe that clients are going to continue to trust us. And of course, that speaks a lot about our service to them, right? Which is why we love to do what we do. I think that's what continues to allow people to give us the opportunity to help them, because there's plenty of people who can help. But we got to do our job to make sure they continue coming back, right? That's faith based on itself, right? We got to believe. We're unsure if people are going to come back, right? But if we do a good job, we believe that they will. Yeah. But that's true of any work, right? If your business is doing production or selling a product or serving somebody doing something else, washing cars, doing lawn care, whatever it is, it's uncertain. Right. And if we don't really believe that we can overcome those, I mean, my belief in God, I believe, is what allows me to get through those times of uncertainty. Do the thoughts come every once in a while? Yes, but I got to bring those thoughts into captivity. And what I mean by that is, don't let the thoughts run you, right? But you tell the thoughts, okay, we're going to get through this, right? And we just got to believe that we will. And that's where that hope comes in, right? We got to have accountability. We got to have people that are going to help us and allow us to grow in and of ourselves without them wanting to kind of keep you and shield you in a way where you're not supposed to be growing, or they don't want you to grow. They truly don't want you to grow. You gotta find the right people that really genuinely care about you, love you, and want you to succeed. Yeah. But yes, I mean, absolutely. There's plenty of days, plenty of times throughout my life, even now, that you feel uncertainty. Everything is about taking a big step of faith, right? And in that, there's risk, right? And the uncertainty of, is it gonna go well? Right? Is it not going to go well? I got to believe that it is. So yeah, I mean, it happens.
So you're growing up in this household, very similar to my own, actually. Sometimes you have water and light, sometimes you don't. Single parent household. How did you go from this situation to going to law school up in Houston, Texas?
Well, it's my belief and faith that I really would be successful, right? Because you have to believe that God wants you to be successful. Whatever it is, and I'm not just talking about successful in money, right? I'm talking about, you have to believe that whatever your purpose is, because everybody's got a purpose. You're here alive and well to do something. And you have to believe it, right? You have to believe that the opportunities are going to open for you. And that's where that uncertainty comes in, right? We all experience it, but we got to step out of that water, or into the water in our faith to do it. I got there because, again, I surrounded myself with people that believed in me, first of all. But I also took that step. think a lot of the times we just never take the step, right? And because we don't, we limit ourselves, right? We have a capacity of things in our life, but I believe a lot of the times we don't even touch our capacity because we're not taking those extra steps. And when I went to law school, I was still unsure. I mean, I can't afford to pay for anything. How am I going to pay for this? Not only am I going out of the Rio Grande Valley, I'm going to another place I've never been. I'm going to a place where I don't have family, I don't have friends. But I had to take that step to know that and really believe that if when I took that step, I was gonna do well and I was gonna be successful. But even at that, you got to have people that you can call or who can visit you, whatever the case may be. You know, surround yourself with people that are gonna continue to encourage you because it's gonna happen. This happens to everybody. There's gonna be times where you need the encouragement. Sometimes you're the encourager. Sometimes you need it. So that's what it is. I think I took that step that not everybody is willing to take. And when you do it, you'd be surprised where those steps are going to take you.
And were you particularly gifted in grade school or high school?
Well, I was gifted in my looks, right? I was a very handsome person. I'm kidding. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, I played sports. You know, I was a very quick person. You know, I ran track. I did cross country, played basketball. Never played football, but basketball, I think, is as far as my mom allowed me. She was concerned I was going to get hurt. I was a very thin guy. I mean, I think I was like 90 pounds when I went into high school as a freshman, and I think I hit 100 maybe my sophomore year, barely, something like that. So she was like, no, don't play football. Basketball's fine.
Well, what I mean is you were the valedictorian.
Oh, yeah.
So were you always gifted academically or very dedicated?
Well, so I was a valedictorian of law school, right? Yeah. Not of high school or even undergrad at my undergrad school, which is at the time was UTPA. Now it's UTRGV. But I wouldn't say I was necessarily gifted academically. What I did have is a hard work ethic. I saw my mom working all the time, you know, in the fields, working for us to provide for us. So I understood that I had to be diligent in what I did. I had to work hard at what I do. I tell people all the time, I was not the smartest one in law school. I really wasn't. My first year I studied with my buddy Ryan. That guy basically had a photographic memory. He could read one thing and recall it like nothing. But I tell him now, even now I tell him, we talk about it all the time. I say, the difference is I worked hard and I didn't rely on my talent or skill. Like I didn't have it, right? But I couldn't rely on something like that. So I had to work hard and be diligent. So I tell people all the time, look, to be the valedictorian doesn't mean you're the smartest, sharpest tool in the shed in that school, right? What it means is you made more sacrifices. Maybe you spent more time studying. I literally had no life in law school. Wouldn't go out, right? Get invitations. I wouldn't say I never went out, but maybe 95% of the time I was home studying. I was in my apartment studying, and I would study till 2 or 3 in the morning. So those sacrifices that I had to make to try to understand what I was doing, I wasn't studying to be number one. I was studying to try to understand the material. So working hard every single hour to get the material, I believe, is what got me to that position to begin with. But yeah, I encourage everybody out there, don't think you can't do it. If you work hard, put your mindset to it, have a plan of action, and be diligent in that plan, be consistent in the plan. I wasn't getting the highest grades in every exam. I think there was very few that I can recall that I actually scored the highest. But what separated me was the fact that I was consistent in all of my exams. So maybe I wasn't getting the high score every single exam, but because of my consistency, when somebody would get a high score, maybe they wouldn't the next time, they would drop. I was consistent all the way through that ultimately put me in the position of having the highest honors, the valedictorian. But it was the consistency of my hard work, right? I wasn't granted a gift of knowledge of law, right? Yeah. I mean, that's something that we have to learn. So it's the work ethic, right? You got to be diligent in your plan and be consistent in it. If you have those two things going for you, I encourage everybody. It doesn't have to be law school. It can be, but any school you want to go to, any program you want to get into, it's very, very possible if you just have a plan and stick to the plan.
So, brother, you went from being an average kid, struggling in the household, struggling financially, to being the valedictorian of your law school, and now having your own practice as a lawyer with 2 locations, soon to be 3. What would you say are some of the major hurdles that you had to overcome to get to the place where you are now?
Again, is the uncertainty of stepping out and actually doing it. I mean, granted, I always go back to this, right? I had help, right? I surrounded myself with people who genuinely wanted to help me. And that allowed me to build a foundation early on and then kind of branch out at some point. But it's still scary, right? For any business owner to open up their own office, whether it's the practice of law or the being a doctor or opening up your convenience store or a store that you're going to sell products like clothes or whatever it is. It's a step that is uncertain, right? Because you don't know what the result is going to be. But that's always the biggest obstacle, is actually doing it. And ultimately, if you do well by your clients, if you're honest with them, truthful with them, do the best that you can, serve them well, they're going to continue to refer your business, whatever business it is. I'm grateful for my clients, and I'm grateful that my clients continue to refer me, but that speaks of my office, right? And I tell my staff all the time, if we don't take care of our clients, somebody else will. Mm-hmm. So we gotta put ourselves in a position where we're serving them well, understanding what they're going through. I mean, again, we handle injury cases, and the majority of our cases, our specialty is car crash cases. When somebody's involved in a car crash, it alters their life. Some more than others, but ultimately it's all the same. It changes your life. And it doesn't just change your life personally, but those around you. Some people are dependent on you. Or you're independent and now you got to be dependent upon somebody else because your car doesn't work or your car hasn't been repaired yet. So we have to understand that our clients are going through one of the most difficult times in their life, to be able to serve them well. We're in the business of serving people, right? And I told that to my staff all the time. And if we do a great job through their difficult time, they're going to continue to refer us. And I got to believe that's the truth, right? And for my staff, for my office. And so far, thankfully, we've been able to help people. And through that, we've been able to grow. And that's why we want to expand, because we believe we can help more people. And that's what it's about at the end of the day. It's about helping people through one of the most difficult times in their life, both physically, because they get hurt, and even financially, because it takes a toll, right? It changes, your routine, your plan. Some of my clients have kids. Now they got to worry about, how am I going to take my kid to school? Work. How am I going to get to work? How is it going to affect my work? How are these injuries going to limit me in work or limit me in my daily activities and my daily life? All of that we take those details and really implement it in our cases, because we understand how your life is affected. But yeah, I mean, we have to position ourselves to do well at what we have in front of us. We can't really think about what could potentially come, right? Because it may or may not. Focus on what we have, do well with what you have, whatever business is in, and you're going to do well. They're going to continue to refer you because you took the time and effort to put attention to their case. So that's what we believe. That's what we do. We're thankful and grateful for the opportunity that people continue to call our office and continue to call me. So
Awesome. Well, so many good things you've already said, but just to close it off, we've talked about uncertainty. We've talked about your journey, uh, but there are a lot of people who haven't taken that step. So, in closing, what is some advice you would give to a young man or young woman struggling with doubts about the future, or who are maybe aspiring to achieve the level of success that you have?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a very, when people tell me, wow, you're successful, or wow, you made it, like, to me, maybe because I'm in it, I don't see it, right? But, and again, it goes back to where I've been in my life, right? To where I am now. I just see it as an opportunity to help more people where I am today. But to those that are struggling, or maybe have doubts, or just maybe unsure about the future, the only encouragement I can have and give is that you can do it. It's possible. A lot of the times we just don't think it's possible because it seems so far away. But if you believe that you can do it, and I really believe if you have a desire to do something, if you make a plan and you stick to that plan, you will get there. Might not be the way you want or thought, but you'll get there. Surround yourself. My second tip, surround yourself with people that really care about you and really encourage you and really want to see you do well. Because it takes more than one person. I mean, again, I didn't get here by myself. I am a product of my community, of the community that helped me growing up. That's why we're doing, I don't know if you know that or know this, but that's why we're doing a backpack giveaway, for example, giving away 500 free backpacks, because it reminds me of a time when I had to go pick up a backpack. Again, we couldn't afford anything, right? We were migrant workers. We would go work in the fields of Michigan in my life, and we'd come back. We were part of the migrant program where we would go get free backpacks, free supplies, whatever the case may be. Those times remind me of why I do what I do. Right now, I get the opportunity to do that. But it all started because even though it seemed so far away, I believed it was possible. You got to believe it. You got to believe you can do it, and you really can. You really can. Now, there's going to be people that tell you can, you're crazy. They're going to, what we call naysayers, right? They're just going to try to do everything they can to belittle you, or just don't have any effort to really bring hope in your life. That's always going to be there. But you have to believe inside of you that it's possible. When you do that, you make your plan, be diligent in your plan, don't lose focus in your plan, you're going to get there. Even though it seems far, all it takes is that step. If you don't take that step, you won't get there. You got to take the step. That's my encouragement. Again, it's very possible. You just got to take the step, and you'll get there.
Yeah. Well, Rudy, thank you so much for this interview. Thank you for sitting down with me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. No, thank you for the opportunity again, guys. Anybody who needs my help, it doesn't even have to be about what I do. If you ever need a call, anybody, send me a text. All my clients have my direct number. Anybody can have my direct number. It's 956-234-5678. It's that easy as long as you know how to count. I tell people 234-5678. Thank you again. And it's a pleasure, it's an honor, and a privilege to be a part of this for you. And I pray that it continues to grow as well.
Hello, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching this video that I've made. I'll be releasing more interviews like this with local businessmen and women. Please give me a follow, a like, and share this video if you can. Thank you so much.